southern Minnesota, under the moonlight. Renegade radio's blasting through the night. Frankie Slosson's on the mic, it's his time to shine. Screaming Sam and MADDOG, they're one of a kind. The Antique Man, he's got a story to tell. DJ Ken spinning vinyl, oh so swell. Mama T's got the rhythm that shakes the ground. John Roberts' voice, it's the sweetest sound. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud. Through the storms and the crowd, we're standing proud. From the back roads to the city, with a voice of the wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while. We don't play by the rules, we're out on the run. The Antique Man's got the past and the future, it's all spun. MADDOG's howl echoes out over the plains. Screaming Sam and Frankie, they're setting the flames. From the highways to the lakes, we ain't slowing down. Spreading fire through the cold Minnesota town. John Roberts leads the charge with the steel in his soul, while Mama T keeps us rocking, always in control. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud. Through the storms and the crowds, we're standing proud. From the back roads to the sea, with the voice of the wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while. So tune in, feel the beat rise. This Renegade station's reaching the skies. From the first crack of dawn to the last star fades, with the sound of rebellion, the sound that won't trade. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud. Through the storms and the crowd, we're standing proud. From the back roads to the city, with the voice of the wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while. time waves crashing on shore. You don't know what you got in the time stream flow. You don't know what you got till the past is a goal. You don't know what you got till you're out of that door. Oh baby, 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 push that pedal once more. Fuel up the flux, ain't no turning back. We're on the edge of time in a lightning track. Guitar riffs and engine screams, roads where we're going, we don't need no dreams. We got the power of love, it's heavy as can be. A photo in my pocket, fading family. Spark of the sky as we tear through the night. History's page about to rewrite. This DeLorean's more than a machine. It's our ride through the fabric of space and the bends of time. Behind the wheel, it's a wild kind of deal with the clock ticking down. Gotta keep it real. Got my puffy vest, my kicks so clean. Marty McFly, part of Doc's wild scheme. Glory to the future, leave dust in the rear. Biff can't touch us, we're shifting gear. You don't know what you got in this time jumping dance. You don't know what you got till you take that chance. Out there on the edge of science and time, got this crazy doc saying the future's all mine. 88's the number, lightning's the game, revving up the DeLorean, fueling the flame. We got hoverboards flying, ain't no lying in this tale. Clock tower chime, gotta set sail well. Twist the keys and hear that engine scream. Shades on tight, we're living out this dream. It's a Midwest riff, time's a heavy load, but this guitar's fueling every road. Strap in tight, we're on this wild ride. Flames on track, no need to hide. I've been rolling down this road with my head held high. Nothing's ever gonna break the spirit that won't die. And through the dust and pain, I find a way to shine. Living wild and free, this renegade is mine. I am a renegade, and I'm never gonna fade. I am a renegade, hear the freedom that I make. Chasing dreams with my heart, tearing worlds apart. I am a renegade, and I'm never gonna fade.
And here we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another great edition of Renegade Radio. Well, an exclusive interview here on Renegade Radio. Something that I've been waiting pretty much all summer to do. But I'm your host of most, Frankie Slauson, and joining me is MADDOG. He's going to be joining me for the interview. But today we got a very, very special guest, a legend among legends, the legendary Dangerous Dan SPIVEY. I can't believe we were actually going to be able to chat today. I'm really honored that we were able to set this up.
I'm so excited. I can't even believe
And Matt, I got to put your volume up a little bit because your thing's so low there. Just so you know. So welcome, Dan. Welcome to the Renegade Radio. A little speechless, I guess.
I'm so excited, dude. I've been waiting for this all morning.
How's it going there, Dan? Or should I call you Waylon Mercy there? Since you got that on the deal here. I can't hear you at all. Your audio's not working. Okay. Kind of figured we'd have. I saw that you had some technical issues earlier on, but then once you popped on camera, I figured I'd start the show. So
Yeah, the microphone down below has a slash through it.
So that means the microphone's muted. It might just be somewhere we gotta put the levels up a little higher. Try to say something. There will. Okay. Yeah, nothing yet. Well, how's it been going, then, MADDOG? What's been going on with you since the last couple of days since our last episode?
No, man, I've been sitting here all day trying to do some research for my man, and I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, it's kind of what we wanted to do for like a special like a Labor Day weekend thing, but I figure, well, we might as well just go live and then instead of doing the recording. So that way,
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
From one neck breaker to another.
That's right. Yeah, can't still nothing yet.
It's got to be something minor. Look down on your microphone thing. Is there a red line through it?
Like through your audio settings on your computer?
Audio settings?
No. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Every man, there's a good woman. My wife just helped me out too.
This must be Mrs. Spivey here. How you doing there? Glad we finally get to
just talk and play with levels. You might have a volume level down or something.
Yeah, our guest on Monday had issues too with his audio. It's like if you're not used to, well, I mean, depending on how often you do your stuff or whatever, it's like everything's different, But we kind of do our stuff every Monday night and do exclusives here and there. MADDOG and I have been kind of doing some stuff here and there.
How's that?
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful.
There we go. Hey.
All right.
Even a legend needs some help sometimes,
Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going there, Waylon? Yeah, you sound great. You sound great. You look great. Everything's great. Everybody looks great.
Big guns, I see.
Yeah, how the heck are you there, Dan? I'm honored to finally be able to speak with you. I've been waiting all summer to do an interview with you. I didn't know if it was even possible at all.
I haven't started. I didn't do many. I just started kind of like rebranding myself, getting back out there. So it's been fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you still currently watch the product of today at all, or are you one of those guys that kind of only just watch the stuff that you did and everything? I'm guessing you probably.
No, not too much. I usually watch the first 5 minutes, and then that's about it. You got to be a gymnast nowadays to do the stuff they do. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you were never a high flyer. I can definitely tell you that.
Many of us that were back then. I mean, our boots didn't go up past the second rope.
Yeah, I'd pull a groin, put my leg up on the second rope.
Exactly.
Well, I'll let MADDOG kind of introduce himself first, just so you kind of know who you're working with a little bit, because I didn't want to just throw a surprise your way or whatever and not know who we're talking to. So, MADDOG, go ahead and introduce yourself to the legendary Dan Spivey there.
First of all, I'm very honored to be on the panel. Frankie, thank you for letting me come on. Frankie, this is your show and your gig, so I'm going to let you take it over. But, Dan, I was a wrestler for 20-some years. I stayed local. I did the church hall stuff. I never really took it to another level because I did have a family and I didn't want to lose my family. And I worked hard and I made it to the Hall of Fame around here in a local organization just last year. And I used to do a lot for Make-A-Wish and that. And I wrestled some of the big guys like King Kong Bundy and I did some Nikolai Volkov, the Bushwhackers, but they were all in the church hall stuff, you know what I mean, towards the end of their careers. But I had a great life doing that. I really enjoyed it. I did a lot for the kids, for the youth associations, but it was fun. I still have the new knees and all the bumps and bruises, but I didn't take it to a level like you guys did. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's about what I did in my career. I wrestled for 20 years, but like I said, I was the weekend warrior. Made sure I got home to the kids and the wife.
He's based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm based out of Pittsburgh. I grew up with my neighborhood. People were Dominic DeNucci, the Roman Gladiator, Rocky Romano, and Dominic and Bruno Sammartino. They all lived in my neighborhood. So I grew up with a bunch of good lead role models. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't. I knew Bruno just a little bit, but I knew his son David pretty well. He went did a
David.
tour
Yeah.
of Japan with me. David did.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm the host and founder of Renegade Radio. Well, I kind of the co-founder because his brother, MADDOG's brother, Sam, is kind of the we kind of did this show kind of together. But MADDOG's kind of more the wrestling fan, more or less, and being the actual wrestler that he was, and but still kind of is here and there. Me, I'm an entertainer. I've been doing interviews and stuff for over 20 years, and or almost 20 years as of 2006. Or it will be 20 years or 26 anyway, 20 years. And I've just always loved professional wrestling. I've always just, I grew up in northern Minnesota, so Minnesota is very accustomed to, AWA and early days WWF and all that stuff. And so it's it's definitely an honor to speak to wrestlers, especially because you guys always have the best stories, let alone with musicians and stuff. But you guys have some of the best road stories, and so when I originally got a hold of you or got a hold of your wife to set this up, I was really surprised because I didn't know if I would get a response about it because you seem like a guy that's that you definitely have a following of people, and I feel like you're definitely a guy whose name will always be synonymous with all the things that you did.
Amen.
But also because of Bray Wyatt, the Waylon Mercy character got a little bit of an upgrade and all that. So I think you're definitely going to live forever, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, you guys. I had a good career and I had a lot of fun doing it. And sure, I have my aches and pains today when I get up, but I would have done the same thing over again if I had a chance.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of other wrestlers have said because they realize that this is what they were built for, even if they didn't know what they were built for back in the day. And I'm sure maybe in the early days when you first started thinking about it, you were maybe confused, or maybe not sure if you'd be able to pull it off. And then all of a sudden you just started. The more you stuck with it, the better you got, kind of thing.
It was something I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. And, the way I got in, I didn't get in until I was 34 years old. And that's
funny. Same with me.
And I already had an injury from college football. And, but it took me 2 steps to get across the ring. So I didn't have to worry about running too much. So I got around it okay.
That's funny how I got my start. I was doing security for wrestling, and one of the wrestlers said, when they throw me out, just throw me back into the ring. Well, I got so excited, I picked him up by his shirt, and I cleared him over the second rope and almost to the third rope. And one of the promoters said, are you that strong that you threw him almost over the top of the rope from the ground? I'm like, well, I mean, isn't that normal? They're like, no. And that's how I got my start almost. They're like, this guy's pretty strong. Put him in a pair of trunks next week. I'm like, real good
story. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's just the thing, It's like, I mean, when you first started wrestling, I mean, like, what was okay, we go back to many years ago, obviously, and life was different compared to now. There's no social media and all that stuff. I mean, was it hard for you to get your teeth gnawed into the business, or was it did it kind of flow after a while when you first started?
It was really tough getting into the business. I ran into Dusty in a bar, Dallas Cowboy Country Bar in Tampa, And we got to talking and stuff. He says, well, you got good size. I told him, about me playing at the University of Georgia. And he says, you want to be a wrestler, kid? I said, sure. And so I went down and met him at his office in Tampa. And he had another big guy, Scott Hall. And we were down there training with Barry. And Dusty got transferred to Charlotte. And he took me and Scott down to Charlotte with him. But the problem was they didn't have any ring set up where we could train. The only time they put the ring up was when they had TV at different towns on Tuesday night. And so we weren't getting any opportunities to work. And Harley Race came to town one weekend, and they're in Charlotte. And we got talking to him in the bar, and he says, well, come to my territory. I'll put you to work, kid. And so his territory was in Kansas City. So me and Scott jumped in my 1971 Chevy Impala. And so we went to Kansas City. And when we got to the office there, we asked for Harley. They said, Harley's in Japan. And we told him, well, Harley told us to come here. We could work in his territory. He said, well, I don't know who you guys are. He said, but y'all have some good size. We'll put you to work. So we started driving 3,000 miles for $200 a week. And it really started the beginning of it. And I forgot to tell you, in Charlotte, they didn't have a ring. So Ole Anderson put down one of those yoga mats and told us to take bumps on this yoga mat in the garage down there. That's how we started. I guess they were trying to run our asses off, but we hung in there and we took those bumps on it. And we were like the last of the guys that had to pay their dues to get into the business.
Sure.
It was really tough, and they put you through the ringer at some of these places, and they definitely tried to starve me and Scott. And after about 6 months there, I called Dusty, and he said, well, come on back. He said, leave Scott there. And so I went back. I lost a bunch of weight, got into pretty good shape, and same crap again. I was starving to death. I got to know Ricky Steamboat pretty well. And Ricky started going with me on Tuesday nights when they set up rings for TV. And we got there early before any fans were around. And he worked out with me. And we became pretty good friends. He took some pictures up to New York. Ricky was working up for Vince. And they liked the way I looked. They brought me in. And Barry Windham had left Mike Rotundo. They were a tag team, the American Express. And so Barry left and says, I had blonde hair, tall. So they put me right in there with Barry. And that was a huge break for me. I owe Mike Rotundo a lot. He really helped me along for quite a while. And so that's how I got my start.
That's kind of funny, because just because of the connection, Mike with Mike Rotunda, and then the whole thing with the William, or with Ray here, or Wyndham, I should say, Rotunda eventually. That it's kind of a weird scenario when you think about it, huh?
Well, I just had such good relationships with Mike and the Wyndham family. I was friends with Jack Mulligan and Barry. And, I ran into Bray down there at the training center. Me and Scott worked out on the yoga mats. They had 7 rings set up at the place. They had those kids that training. And they paid them $1,200 a week, I heard. But anyway, that was a few years ago. And what story was I telling? Getting back to being friends with the Wyndhams and the whole group. And Bray came to me and asked me if it would be all right if he used my character. And I said, Bray, you can do it. Sure, I'd be honored if you do it. He said, well, you got any suggestions? And so we sat and talked and came up with some ideas, and he did a great job. He really did. That was going to be a huge. It was already huge, but it was going to. He was on his way to becoming a real huge superstar in the business.
What I didn't understand was the fact that after he started using your character, and more people realized that it was kind of a tribute in a tribute to you. Why Vincent call you up and say, you know what, you got to be like his manager or something. This is too good to not throw away. You're the guy that started the whole Waylon Mercy thing. You know, you need to be like Bray's like uncle or something, like his manager, or just kind of guide him through his early through his rise or whatever, kind of like a Paul Bearer to Undertaker, but more since you guys are wearing the same type of outfits and everything. I love that version of Bray Wyatt. That was my favorite version of it because I knew that it had to do with you. I just had that feeling, but I didn't know for sure because rumors always go around like they do, and I'm glad you were able to confirm that.
Yeah, it was a huge honor for him to come and ask me to do that, and he did a great job. I was very proud of him.
Would you have came up and managed him if Vince would have called you or somebody would have called you and said, "Hey, we want you to be a part of it"?
I done that, It's coming up on his second year of being not with us anymore. So
Sure.
Yeah, that was a tough one there, man.
Yeah,
that was
sure.
tough. Hey, when Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham went on, you went to the you stayed and did WrestleMania, right?
I did.
88?
I did WrestleMania, the second one. It was in Chicago with
that was the Chicago one, right?
Battle Royal with the football players.
Yeah, with the football players, right? That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy deal. It was 3 shows on the same night. They did a pay-per-view. They had one show in Long Island, one in Chicago where I was.
They had Green in there, wasn't the linebacker for the Steelers? Green, didn't he play in that one? I think wrestling that one.
Too Tall Jones was there. Dick Butkus was there. There was a bunch of the Steelers there. Quite a few pro football players that were involved with that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, because that was a famous. Was that the one that Andre the Giant won? The WrestleMania.
Yeah, of course we had Andre. Yes.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that because everybody always talks about WrestleMania 3 all the time, so that gets kind of overblown, but they forget about all the other WrestleManias. Yeah. But
89 or 8, because you went to Japan Wrestling right after that, right?
It was a little bit later, a couple of years after that. Vince let me go, and I was owed the government $18,000 in taxes. I had no idea where I was going to go. And I get a call from Terry Funk. And Terry called me. He says, Danny, would you like to go to Japan and work? I said, I'd love to go to Japan. He says, I'll call you back. So he calls me back. He says, I got you a job in Japan. And they offered to pay you $3,500 a week. But I told him, no, you didn't want that much money, and that you would just come over for $3,000 a week.
That was nice.
$500 went in Terry's pocket, but that was okay. I went over to Japan. They liked me, and they invited me back to the next 3 tours. So I was able to pay off the government, and life was pretty good at that point. It was my biggest break that I got in the business was Terry getting me booked over in Japan.
Yeah, so it wasn't so bad him pocketing a little bit of your money with Terry. Thanks a lot, Terry.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's funny how in the back, how we work in the back, huh? How everybody was out to get everybody else's pocket.
Yeah, it's a good response when we saw each other. I'm always asking to borrow money from him.
That was funny. I used to chase down for $30, and time I left the locker room had like $8 left, and I still had to tear down the ring just to get a show. You know what I mean? Oh shit, they were the good old days, though.
Well, see, MADDOG stayed in the Indies. He never really wrestled anywhere unless. Well, I mean, you got to open for one of the ECW pay-per-views, or you were like the dark match or whatever.
Yeah, I was. We had one, and I was the curtain closer. They call. I got to warm up the crowd, with barbed wire wrapped around my head and a couple of razor blade cuts and a chair across the face. But hey, it was well worth the no pay. ECW. I enjoyed every. Listen to me. I don't care about the money or nothing. I wouldn't have took back one chair shot, one razor blade across that. Not that I wouldn't have took none of it back. I wouldn't have took a paycheck. I loved it so much. It didn't matter. I just wish I could have did it. You know, I did a match. I told Sean I did a match a couple of weeks ago. I'm 64 now. You know what I mean, Dan? I'm 64 now. They asked me to do this quick spot, being somebody's manager, taking the guy out, doing the spot, hitting him across the head, and throwing him into the ring post. I wouldn't have gave all the money in the world. Couldn't have made me do that. I mean, I was a high all day, man. I was just floating around. My wife goes, "You're not doing this." I'm like, "I'm doing it. So stay home. I'm doing it." I wanted them to hit me with a chair. I wanted them to run me over with a truck. I just wanted them to do something to me, you know. It was amazing. 15 lousy minutes. It was just amazing.
It gets in your blood, that's for sure.
My
I've been out of the business for over 30 years, and I still dream of high spots all the time. You know,
isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird how the business has changed over the years. But I mean, you got to kind of adapt to change. You know, if you want it to be successful, I guess. You know, that's what I've always been told. I don't know whether that makes sense or not. I mean, it's like the way you guys did it back in the day. You know, I mean, and I do believe you did have it harder because of no technology. You know, you had to go from place to place. You had to use maps. You know, instead of GPS. Nobody really had GPS back in those days.
Our rings didn't have. Our rings had 1-inch plywood. There was no padding under them. Everybody's saying, "Oh, there's a spring." Spring my ass. We couldn't afford. All we had was the canvas. We couldn't even afford the padding inside the ring. There was steel beams going across it. I don't know about you, Danny, but the rings I worked in had 3 steel I-beams, 1-inch plywood, and if you're lucky, you had a 1/2-inch padding from carpeting. Then you had your mat you stretched over it.
That sounds like a good ring.
Yeah, that's what I mean. See, it was a good ring, he'll tell you. I've done better than taking a bump, Dan, right?
That's right.
So going back to your early days, like who were some of your favorite people to work with, whether it be one-on-one or as a tag team?
Gosh, me and Stan Hansen had some great matches with Terry Gordy and Dr. Death.
Oh man, Terry Gordy.
Yeah, it was an honor being in a ring with those 3 guys. They were awesome.
How did they work?
How
did they work?
Stiff.
Were they stiff for real? I bet you Stan Hansen was, but I don't know about. I thought they would work so like Snooker worked so light, like you didn't even know you were working with him. He was.
Those
I
guys
enjoyed working with him.
That was in Japan. The stiffer the better. As long as you didn't break any bones, it was okay, you know. And that's why so many American guys that went over never came back because they got the shit beat out of them. It was like a fight every night, and it met my style just fine. I liked it that way, and we did our best to make people think it was real. And
yeah, I guess you had to.
Yeah, because I mean, even to this day, you know, people like to use the word kayfabe and all that stuff, and because of the internet, you know, I guess a lot of people believe that it's ruined the age of professional wrestling. But I feel if you're still a fan of it, if you still believe whatever is being presented to you, that is what the goal is, to believe what is actually happening, and regardless of who wins or who loses. I mean, there's something about pro wrestling that keeps a person engaged. I mean, whether you're a fan of it, whether you actually did it. I mean, but I just hate running into people that just think that they know everything about the business, but yet would be too much of a pussy to even try wrestling somebody or bumping or whatever. But yet they have lots to say behind the keyboard and everything. You know.
You take a bump from a guy named Danny Spivey, and he'll let you know if you're in the business.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure, Dad, you've had to deal with that type of stuff too, where people just like kind of like defending the fact that they like to use the F word on wrestling, a lot. And you know which one I'm talking about, the F word, not the one that rhymes with rank, anyway.
Yeah, fake.
How do you deal with people like that when they like to bring up that wrestling's not really a real like sport, like you're how do you deal with
Well,
that type of stuff?
well, when they ask me if wrestling's real or fake, how do I do
Yeah.
that? I tell them, "Do you want me to show you?" And usually they say no.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're looking at you right at the belly button. That's why. You're only what, 6'5", damn right.
And then when you give them a chop across the chest,
Right.
and they go, they cry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, rip the skin right off your nipple.
That just makes me laugh because like I said, these keyboard warriors. See, that's one thing about our shows. We're not like that. We have respect for every guest that has ever been willing to come on the show. Because as of today, you are our 50th guest of 2025. So that's what makes us more special. So I do appreciate that. But we love all things pop culture and when you watch a movie, I mean, a movie can feel like it's real. It makes you believe whatever you're seeing on the screen. Whatever story you're being told, and that's what wrestling pretty much is. You're telling stories, and some stories are kind of weak, but most stories are strong. And I think that's still as it is with wrestling. Not just because it's not just about story. That's part of it, but I mean, the work that you guys had to do to go on the road, to travel all the ways that you had with little or no money. I've heard of people sleeping in their cars and being homeless and all that stuff, and just trying to make it. When you finally started to get a little bit of success from professional wrestling, what was like the first things that you were able to realize that you were able to do beforehand, rather than what you weren't able to do while you were kind of still struggling? Say that the struggle was kind of over now. You finally are getting somewhere, and it's like, what's the first thing that you remember doing?
It was such a struggle at the beginning, and my family was really upset with me because, I didn't have any money, and I was, it was hard, and they kept telling me, quit what I was doing and get a real job, and I refused because I knew if I set my mind to something, I've always been able to do it in the past, and I was bound and determined I was going to be a wrestler and become famous. And I just enjoyed doing it so much, and it was a struggle, but it was well worth it. Being able to buy a house was a big thing. My first one that I ever owned, and so it's just it was great being recognized, before about what I did for a living, professional wrestling. Not everyone can do it, and to do it well, there's a lot of people out there doing it, but they don't do it very well. But if you're having a good time, continue doing it, And I was just fortunate to. I got a few lucky breaks. I had some good teachers, and I had a lot of determination to make it.
So how did the this is the big question that I have for you, and I'm sure you've been asked this a lot of times, but I gotta know just for the sake of our show and everything, the whole Waylon Mercy character, because that's the one character that I remember you from the most, because I was just a little kid at the time when I was watching wrestling, so I never watched like AWA or NWA or anything back in those days. It was WCW, Clash of Champions on TBS, and WWF Superstars or whatever. And I remember the character-driven era of the World Wrestling Federation. And when you made your debut as Waylon Mercy, how the hell tell us the story of how the process of how that kind of came to be, and why was it so successful? Because I do believe it was probably the most successful character that you ever did, in the world of wrestling.
Well, thank you for the compliment.
Absolutely.
It's Waylon Mercy is like unfinished business with me. It was the first time that I got to be someone other than
Dangerous Dan or Dan Spivey or what, Waylon Mercy was a character, and I just had great ideas on, how to present this character. So many people are yelling and screaming at all their interviews and stuff. And someone's yelling and screaming at me, I get mad, And so Waylon Mercy just came out and
Sure.
what was that?
That's just I got a train. I live by some train tracks where I live at.
I think so.
Don't worry, it's not nothing going. I'm surprised you're able to hear that.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah, I was like, I thought maybe you live by the train.
Well,
Yes,
I mean,
I
it probably
never heard
muted
that
the audio a little bit. I didn't know that it came with that clear because I'm using a monitor and a like a TV monitor.
Yeah, Frankie, I never heard that before.
Well, it's probably because you weren't paying attention to it. When you pay attention to it, then you know what's happening. But it happens a lot. The train goes by so much. I have my windows open too to get some fresh air in here because it gets hot in here too.
That was different.
Well, I'm glad you're able to hear that all the way from Minnesota, anyway, northern Minnesota. But yeah, so continue on now with the Waylon Mercy story because I mean that's interesting.
Yeah, it was. I love the movie Cape Fear, and that's where I got the idea and everything. But the talking and just coming up with stuff. It was back in my day, we didn't have things scripted out for us. It was just go in there and wing it. And I like doing that. It was just off the cuff. Coming up with the stuff. Waylon Mercy, people are going to be in Waylon Mercy's hands. You know what I mean? And it just, talking like that was kind of eerie to people, and they just loved the character, or they hated him, one or the other. But I think
it was different. I mean that
was cool.
The theme song, that you had too was just perfect. I don't know, if that was something that Jim Johnson did or whatever, but that was so perfect, nice and slow, not too much in a hurry, just like this is almost like Undertaker vibes, kind of like back in the day, but but different, I can understand now why Bray Wyatt wanted to do, have you as use your character, because that was so underrated. Some people might say it's overrated, but I feel it was so underrated that they could have done so much more with you. But unfortunately, all things must come to an end, and it's like sometimes I wonder why Vince, still gets away with being the way that he was and everything. But I guess as an owner and whatever at the time, it is what it is. But no, they should have let you do a lot more of that.
So much Vince. It was the fact that I just couldn't perform like I wanted to. I was in a lot of pain. I was addicted to painkillers, and I just didn't want to get out there and make an ass out of myself, with the reputation I had built all the years, and I just couldn't perform. So I retired, and 2 weeks later I had my knee replaced. So, I just was too beat up.
Sure.
Did you have both of them replaced or just one, Dan?
I had both replaced. I've had 6
I had both of mine replaced last year. Yeah. Now I'm looking for the hips.
Yeah. Comes with the territory.
So since you're retired and everything, what has life been like then? I mean, because I know the wrestling's still in your blood, but I mean, like I'm sure you've done other things over the course of time, but I mean, like, what have you been up to lately? Like in the last few years or whatever.
Well, the last few years I play golf 4 times a week. I still train, and I'm just enjoying life.
Here's a picture of me and Nikolai. I ran with him for about 5 weeks. I was his fall guy for a couple of weeks. I loved him, man. He was a gentle giant.
Yeah,
that guy was the nicest guy I ever met in my life.
Yes, he was quite the character.
Yes, he was. Him and the Bushwhackers.
So you like playing golf and everything, and you just retirement's been good for you? I mean, even though it's been 30 years, but I mean, it's still you still enjoy being not being on the road, I suppose, and whatever.
Well, what's keeping me busy is me and my wife were writing my autobiography about my life,
Oh,
and
cool.
so that'd be coming out in before Christmas. It'd be out before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Good.
So
Good.
spending a lot of time with that, and I started doing these autograph shows, conventions. I started doing that again, and trying to make Waylon Mercy relevant and
Sure.
to help sell the book. And the book is about my life and about my struggles with alcohol and drugs. Uh, the book is about my life story and about all the operations I've had and all the addictions I've had and all the trouble I got into. And the book hopefully help people get sober, because
Addictions never go away either, man. They just
if I can do it, anybody can do it. And,
Sure.
and the book will help some people.
Was this from your days like on the road? Is this what you're talking about? Like kind of like you drank a lot, you took a lot of pain medicine, you couldn't get rid of or couldn't get away from it at all? Or was it hard back in those days?
And, when you're on the road, 90 days in a row and have been home, you get banged up, need some pain pills, need pills to sleep on, you smoke a little dope, you drink a couple bottles of Jack. It just, it wasn't because of wrestling that I became addicted to painkillers and stuff. It was just during the time that when I did those things, it just probably speeded up the process. I don't know. But
the wrestling
anyway,
was an excuse, right?
what's that?
The wrestling more or less was an excuse to, oh, I'm hurt because I wrestled, so I got to eat this or take these or.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, if you did what I did, you'd be taking pills too. So it was easy for me to justify it, But that was just an excuse, I'm addiction never goes away. It just, in a recession, that's not the word.
Remission.
What?
Remission.
Remission.
Thank you, Mrs. Spivey. What I'm kind of curious about too is like, okay, so after you retired, how long were you still addicted for then? Like, how long did that addiction go on?
It never goes away. It's just in remission.
What I'm saying though, like how long until you decided to give it up? Until you decided to quit drinking and everything?
Well, I've been sober now for 16 years.
Okay.
I was still using.
God bless you, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah, it went on after wrestling. I kept on. Then finally, you have to read the book.
Oh, I definitely want to now. Especially that I've interviewed you and everything, because I've been trying to. We got some authors coming up here that have some good new wrestling books coming out here. Brian Solomon's going to be writing a book about Gorilla Monsoon, and he's going to be our guest here on the 15th of September. And definitely looking forward to that, because Gorilla Monsoon was another one of those guys that just. I'm sure you have some stories working with Gorilla, because he was such a great commentator, but I'm sure he was a good guy even outside the ring and everything too, just like his character.
Are you talking about Gorilla Monsoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't really know him that well. He was at TVs, and that was about it. I didn't have relationships with him at all.
Okay. Well, we also are friends with a well-known guy named Keith Elliott Greenberg, and he's been making a lot of books and stuff. He wrote one just recently about WrestleMania 3, and now he has one coming out here this fall about AEW. Have you watched any of the AEW product at all, or does that, if you have, does that remind you of like WCW from back in the day, or at all, or anything?
I've watched it. I'm not too impressed with it. I mean, it's terrible. in my opinion.
Okay.
Hey, Frankie, who's the guy who wrote the book on the New World Order?
Oh, that was Mark Raimondi. We had him on too earlier this summer, before the summer started, like Memorial Day weekend. He wrote a book about the Mark Raimondi. He works for ESPN out of Georgia, and he covers mostly all the Georgia sports and everything. But he's a big fan of the NWO, and before the 30th anniversary next year, he decided to write a book about it, and it came out this summer. So I actually have a copy of it here.
Yeah, he's supposed to send me a copy.
Wow,
hey, before we, I'd like to hook up and get your number and that so we can stay in touch. I like to, you know what I mean, shoot some bullshit with you sometime after. Because I got Ahmed Johnson. We did him, and I did Dumpster Drosy too.
Yeah. Let me see the book again. Put the book. Let me see. Hold
on. I'm gonna get this background out of the way here first, so I can shows all my stuff now. But this is the book here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sent me a copy here right after we did the interview, and it's a good book. I mean, if you're a fan of, and not just because of the whole NWO thing, not just put Hogan over or anything, it's a good book. I mean, it really tells a really good story about.
Like Scott Hall real good. He was real
good.
Yeah,
because he's like, down right there, your man Scott Hall, right there. Yeah.
Hey, you can introduce your wife if you want to. You can come on and we can say hi to her. She find the volume for you.
My wife's the boss's name, Ann.
Yeah, she's your agent. It was a nice being able to schedule this interview with you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I really. Now I'm honored to sit in on it. Thank you.
I have one last question for you, Dan. And again, thank you for being a part of the show. I really do appreciate that. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you like, or how do you want people to remember you?
Wow, tough question. I want people to remember that, being a tough guy and having a lot of respect and stuff. I want to be remembered about, being a guy that dealt with his issues as far as drugs and alcohol, that went through a lot, but was able to become sober because of, his belief in a higher power and a good wife.
Oh, there you go. All right, my man. Well, again, I appreciate this. I've been waiting all summer for this, but it was definitely worth the wait. And
thanks, Dan.
I hope the book does really well. Who's the guy? Who's your author that you're that's going to write it for you, or are you writing it?
What's that?
Who's the author that's writing your book?
Ann, my wife.
Oh, she's writing it. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's cool. Now that's different. Because
and his wife.
Okay. Well, if anybody knows more about you than your wife, then I know,
You better hope there ain't no couple of pages in there that you don't know about.
Yeah, I double read that. All right, Dan. Well, I appreciate that. MADDOG, thank you for being part of this as well.
Oh, and thank you, Frankie, for letting me in. And Danny, I really enjoyed this, man.
Oh, absolutely. This was a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in for the special Labor Day weekend edition of interviews here with for Renegade Radio, and we'll see you when we come back here in a week or so for a new episode of Renegade Radio. Bye.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Out in northern Minnesota, under the moonlight, Renegade Radio's blasting through the night. Frankie Slosson's on the mic, it's his time to shine. Screaming Sam and MADDOG, they're one of a kind. The Antique Man, he's got a story to tell. DJ Ken spinning vinyl, oh so swell. Mama T's got the rhythm that shakes the ground. John Roberts' voice, it's the sweetest sound. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud. Through the storms and the crowd, we're standing proud. From the back roads to the city, with a voice so wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while. We don't play by the rules, we're out on the run. The antique man's got the past and the future, it's all spun. MADDOG's howl echoes out over the plains. Screaming Sam and Frankie, they're setting the flames. From the highways to the lakes, we ain't slowing down. Spreading fire through the cold Minnesota town. John Roberts leads the charge with the steel in his soul, while Mama T keeps us rocking, always in control. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud through the storms and the crowds. We're standing proud from the back roads to the sea, with the voice of the wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while. So tune in, feel the beat rise. This Renegade station's reaching the skies, from the first crack of dawn to the last star fades. We're the sound of rebellion, the sound that won't trade. On Renegade Radio, we keep it loud through the storms and the crowd. We're standing proud from the back roads to the city, with the voice of the wild. Renegade Radio, baby, it's been a while.